Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope everyone's having a good day so far. And today we are back with another discussion video. This time around, I want to talk about the Sandman. And for those who don't know what the show is, I believe it did come from like a comic book series or something like that. But the Sandman is what we're going to be talking about today. But more specifically, the newest episode of the Sandman. And I've watched Sandman since it came out on Netflix. And in my opinion, season 1 was the best season. Season 2 sucks, except for the last episode of season 2. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're not really going to talk about the whole show in its entirety, although in my opinion, I prefer season 1 over 2. My problem with season 2 is like I feel like they didn't know where to go with season 2, and the show felt kind of aimless. It felt like there was no clear direction of what they were doing. Every episode felt really disconnected, and I just didn't really vibe with season 2 as much as I did season 1. Because season 1, you have a conflict at the start of things, and then it's your job to get things back in order, and that's why I like season 1 so much. And also has 2 bonus episodes that I believe aren't tied to that season. But you look at season 2, and it's like there's no real clear storyline, and I don't like that, really, but I thought it was okay. Like, it wasn't the greatest thing in the world, but I am glad it's over, and there's not going to be anything else from it. But my thing is, I want to talk about Death, the High Cost of Living, which is the last episode of season 2, and I believe they released it last, so that's interesting. But talking about this episode in particular is, like, this episode, I feel like, hit me really hard. Because there's the episode. If you've seen the episode, you can continue watching. But if not, I recommend going to watch it because it is the highlight of everything the show has done so far for me. It's probably my favorite episode out of everything they've done. But the thing is, so this guy on the right here, the whole thing starts with him like. He has a baggie of pills, and he's like writing a note, like a unaliving note, and like he's gonna end it all with these pills in a baggie. And then Death, the character from Sandman, comes around, and she gets like 1 day out of 100 years to live as a human. And so this is the day like he could have ended it all, and he didn't, and she wouldn't have been able to take him where he wanted to go. But like, she had a day off, and like she basically spends her whole day with him. And it's such like I at first I was like, what's going on here? And I guess like the guy on the right, I guess his ex just broke up with him or something. And he looked like he was kind of lost, aimless, like I guess he's like a journalist or a reporter or something, and he's worried about the state of the world so much. And I was wondering where the episode was going, and I think I started to see where the episode was going when when they got to the club. When they got to the club, things started really making sense, because like things started piecing together. Like, they were obviously in a high stakes situation. I was so worried that this guy on the right was gonna die, and he didn't, and that was probably like my biggest relief. I was like, cool, great. I was wondering where the episode was going, because he ends up meeting this girl at the club, and he's kind of like hesitant to talk to her or to share his feelings with her or to like even open up. And then they're like alone at one point, and he even tells her like he's thinking about ending it all, and she's like, well, don't, because I'm going to tell you my story. She ends up telling him about how she had a really rough time growing up, and like kind of fast forwarding a little bit, things kind of resolve in the episode, and Death goes back to performing her duties, and then he ends up like starting to write that letter again because he's still considering it. And the episode ends with like a perfect little wrap up that I was hoping for, but didn't know if we were going to get, which is the girl he met at the club comes to his flat, invited by his roommate and her girlfriend, but like it's the perfect ending to the episode because it talks like she comes by and he he closes his computer and he ends up deleting the note he was going to write, and he forgets all about trying to end it all. And then he says to her, like, do you want a cup of tea? And that's where the episode ends. And dude, that is the best episode they've ever made, because it shows this guy struggling with getting by, and like, I can relate to that, like, not feeling motivated to do anything, but like, the episode starts off with him like ready to end it all, and the episode ends with him finding another reason to live. I think that's so perfect, and it's the whole reason why I wanted to talk about this episode, because like, you know, I was so happy when he met that girl, because I was just like, look at that, he's got hope. And like, you know, part of me wants that someday, like, to be able to find someone like that. And just like the chance that death leads him to all of this is kind of the poetry of it all, because he was going to end it all, and death didn't know that, but like, and it was her day off, so there's nothing she could have done about it. But it's wild to have this episode. Like, if this episode hadn't made it to season 2 and it was just season 2, I would have been really disappointed with the show as a whole. But like, this episode saved the entire, well, didn't save the entire season, but like, made it worth getting to the end to watch something enjoyable. Because like, the whole time with season 2, I was just bored and I wasn't really enjoying it. I was following along with the story, but it's like, I kind of just wanted it to end. I was just like, okay, can we wrap this up? Can we just get to the end of things? And then when it finally got to this episode, I was like, I was really intrigued, because this is completely disconnected from the main story. So I thought that was really cool. I think what maybe would be a good idea for the show is to do kind of a Black Mirror type of thing, but not in the Black Mirror story sense. Like, just make a bunch of episodes that aren't connected to each other and have individual stories. I think that's why I would watch the show again. But if they were to put it under a different name, like, they just call it something, I don't know, like just something akin to what like the last 2 episodes of season 1 did, where they were their own separate thing, and then what this episode did at the end of season 2, it's like, give me like episodes like these to give me hope, I guess, because this did something really cool. And I love the episode title, Death, the High Cost of Living, because that title kind of pans to 2 different points of view. One, death being her only day she's allowed to go and enjoy a human life for once. And then also the guy on the right, like, he was about to end it all, and then he meets someone who changes his life and gives him a reason to live. I think that's beautiful, man. Like, literally, it shows like that. This is like where I see like TV shows give me hope, where it's like, oh yeah, you can make something good, you know? And yeah, the reporter journalist guy, he found his light in the dark, and I think that's really important. And the irony of it all being death is both, like, because he was about to end it all, but also death is what made him go out and find someone who thinks like him, you know? I think that's really positive. And those are the type of stories I like. My thing is with TV or anything I play video game wise is like, when it comes to relationships, I like to follow along relationship. I don't want to see the journey of it all, right? Well, I care more about the journey of a relationship than the final destination. Like, because I say this with like Death Stranding, like, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey you go on to get there, you know? That's what I think matters, and that's what I loved about this episode, is it was all a journey, and then it kind of cuts and you know where things end, so you don't really need to know more than that. That's what I love, man. And I want to see more TV and movies do this, because truly, if you get to that final destination, you have to watch it all the way through, it gets kind of dull for me. But like, seeing a journey and seeing where it goes, I think is really important. And it's why this was such a good end. Why it, you know, why I loved it so much. And I think like this was the highlight of season 2 for me. because yeah, right now Netflix, they don't have a lot going on in terms of stuff to watch and stuff going. Like the only other thing that's coming out this year is Stranger Things. So, but it is cool that this season wasn't all bad, and there was this one good episode that I could watch and enjoy. But anywho, that's going to be the video for today. But thank you guys for watching, hanging out. I appreciate it a ton. I will see you guys in the next video. And yeah, goodbye.